Alrighty, ladies and gentlemen, this is John Rigby with Rigby's Pool Services, coming at you again with a video today upon request about UV systems. I know that that's one of the latest trends. We're moving more towards UV systems, ozone systems. It's, coming with the latest and greatest technology and pairing it with pools. I'm a huge supporter of UV systems in pool applications. I have them on my pool that I am in charge of, and I absolutely love it. I've had it for about 2 or 3 years, and it's just been fantastic. I can't speak highly enough about it. Let's get one thing clear from the beginning though. Ozone and UV are two different technologies, two very different things. Okay, you need to understand ozone is an oxidizer, and if you want more information on that, check out my other video about ozone. But ozone is an oxidizer. UV is different. UV works by sending UV signals, or UV rays, just like the sun, and it attacks the water at the point of contact, and it is breaking down the DNA of the viruses and the germs, and it's causing it to not be able to replicate. Okay, so the germs, the viruses, everything in the water that's passing through the UV is causing it disrupts its DNA, and it cannot reproduce, essentially making it, killing it, essentially. Doesn't quite kill it, but it is no longer bad. It's no longer bad in the water. So it takes care of things like microorganisms, bacteria, algae, viruses, all that bad stuff that we want out of the water. You still run these UV systems. You still run them with chlorine. Okay, that's a common thing. We always have chlorine in our pool, regardless of what you're using. Maybe in the future, looks like we're going towards chemical-free pools, but right now we're not quite there yet. So how the UV works is essentially it's plumbed in line right in your system, and it's kind of like a tube, maybe about this long, and the water flows through that tube. And as it flows through the tube, there's these lamps inside of that emit the UV rays, and as the water passes through, it gets a concentrated dose of the UV rays, and it disrupts and breaks down that DNA, and it kills that stuff off. Okay, it leaves no residual in your water, and by residual meaning there's no lasting effects that causes it to continuously sanitize, except for when that water passes through. That's why we need the chlorine. Okay, so it's passing through, it's killing it off, and again, you still need the chlorine. These devices run about maybe $600 to $1,000. I would say right around $1,000 for a good quality one, and then they need to be installed. As far as sanitation systems go, UV is pretty simple to install. It's not a whole lot different from like a salt cell, where you're pretty much just putting it in line. There's not a whole lot to it. Ozone is a lot more difficult because ozone causes off-gassing, and so it's got to be ventilated if it's indoors and stuff like that. UV is not. UV is just pretty much a simple tube with lights around it. Now, the downside to UV is that you occasionally have to open the device up and clean the inside, which means chemicals. You need some kind of chemical cleaner. The glass inside will get a little bit of a biofilm, so that needs to be cleaned, maybe yearly, maybe every 6 months, depends on your water chemistry. You always, of course, still want to keep your water chemistry balanced. That'll prolong the life of the UV system. And the bulbs inside of the UV, well, they eventually will burn out, or they'll start to become weaker. Those need to be replaced, and of course they're not going to cost you $1,000, but they're not going to be cheap. So you'll replace those every, I don't know, maybe once a year. I'm not sure what the specifics are for each product, but not too bad. I absolutely love these UV systems. When you're looking at picking yours out, you want to look at the flow rate of gallons per minute. Figure out if your pool is, say, 27,000 gallons. You want to look at the flow rate, and you want to make sure that it can have the entire volume of your water pass through it over about an 8 to 12 hour period. Okay, we say 8 hours because we want all the volume of water to turn over 3 times in a 24-hour period. That's kind of the rule of thumb. So if you have a 30,000 gallon pool, you want it to pass through there 3 times over the course of 24 hours. So your flow rate for 24 hours, if it's 30,000 gallon pool, you'll want it to pass through 90,000 gallons per 24-hour period. It's simple to do the math. They've got all the gallons per hour. Usually it's gallons per minute. Then you multiply to find the hour, and then there's of course 24 hours. So that's kind of how you size it up. You want to make sure you get the correct size for your pool, and they're really effective. I think you still run chlorine with it, but you're running chlorine at a really low amount. I know in my pool I can run it right at 1 part per million. If mine wasn't a public pool, I would go even lower. There's no smell because it's killing off the chloramines. There's no burning eyes because, again, it's killing off the chloramines. Your water is just much cleaner. It just feels better. I like this system a lot more than I like ozone. Now, ozone is fantastic. It's an oxidizer. It's great. Now we're getting this technology called AOP, which combines the two together. You have your ozone and your UV, and they're putting them together into an AOP device, and that brings the best of both worlds. Those are a little more pricey, but it introduces these things called hydroxyl radicals, and that's what's kind of producing a little bit more of a residual, and those are really, really nice systems. So that's AOP. CMP makes a really good one. I love theirs, but for the sake of this video, we're just talking about UV. Of course, still watch your pH, watch all your other levels, and overall, they're great. Paramount makes a good one. Aqua UV makes a good one. Just about every company is starting to make them. CMP makes one that's very affordable. Definitely check them out. They're fantastic. They really, really help to keep your water clean, and I don't think you'll be disappointed. Hopefully this helps. If you have any other questions, let me know. I'm happy to help. Again, John Rigby, and signing off.